When we look at it through the Yoruba socio-cultural prism and examine concepts like Ikunle Abiamo, we'll understand that it's the surrogate mother's name that will be used. It's simple. Let's look at it from the biological perspective before we look into the spiritual perspective. Biologically, the only thing the mother, the donor of the egg, controls is the genetic makeup of the child. Aside from that, the surrogate mother controls every other thing. There's something we call epigenetics. Epigenetics talks about how everything in the cell, in the fetal cell, that is the baby, the unborn baby, is being controlled by the fetal environment. That is being controlled by the womb environment of its carrier. So, while the biological parent's genetic makeup dictates the child's genetic makeup, now the abnormalities or normalities and the recessiveness and dominance of the gene is controlled by the surrogate mother. That, for example, emotional intelligence, social behavioral patterns, and everything is controlled by the surrogate mother. So depression, anxiety, pessimism, optimism, all these things are decided by the surrogate mother. So from the biological perspective, we see that the surrogate mother is the actual mother. In fact, it goes deeper than that. The umbilical cord, which is of a very high spiritual essence, serves as a form of hormonal transfer channel between the mother and the child. So all the hormones of the child are gotten from the mother. Even for years after birth, the mother still carries remnants of the fetus in her, cellular remnants of the fetus in her forever. Let me explain. That is, after giving birth, throughout her own life, wherever the mother is, she will still have remnants of the baby in her forever. So the biological linking is very strong. Now let's talk about the spiritual aspect. When we look at the spiritual aspect, we'll see that we can't use the egg donor's name for spiritual activities. For the same reason, we can't use the father's name. The father donated his sperm, but we never use his name for spiritual activities. So the mother donating the egg makes her fall into the same category. And the more reason we need to use the surrogate mother's name is because the period between gestation and birth already creates a kind of energetic linking between the mother and the fetus. And this energetic linking remains forever. Why the donor only shares genetic linking with the child. And in spirituality, genetics is not as important as energy. That is why if someone wears a clothes for 100 years and scientifically it already possesses their genes, all their genes are in it. If they test the clothes, they will see their genes. But spiritually, it is different. If someone has been wearing that clothes for 100 years and someone wears it one day and it is used for, let's say, a bad spell, a bad spiritual spell, it is the person that wore it last that has more chances of being harmed by the spell, especially if the spell was used for him, against him or her, because the proximity, just mere being in contact with the clothes, has created an energy field. Now imagine something that lives within another thing for 9 months. This is why Yoruba have the saying, although the Yoruba culture and spirituality lacked the scientific prowess to perform surrogacy procedure, Ifa, however, in its timelessness, talks about things that are philosophical and psychologically related to surrogacy. For example, Ogbe Tomokpon. Ifa ni Ogbe Tomokpon, abiyamọ tọ́mọ ṣe, àgbàpọ̀n ò lérè. Tọ́mọ bá ń ké, ìyá rẹ̀ là á ké sí. So this shows that proximity, being close to the child, does not necessarily translate to nurture in the spiritual essence of it. And what could be more nurturing than bringing life forth, keeping it within your body for 9 months? This already creates an unbreakable, strong spiritual link between the child and the mother forever. Just as we have it similarly in biology. It's interesting. But my own question to everybody is, whose name do we use in the case of an orphan? someone without any known parents? Drop your answers in the comment section.